Welcome to the channel Smart Civil Engineer. Simple and clear explanation. In this video, let us have a look on the expected short question and answers in the JNTUH final examinations. This video consists of the previously asked JNTUH short questions from Unit 1 of Analysis of Perfect Frames from the Structural Analysis 1 subject, and also a few expected short questions from the same subject. First question is, define frame. What are the different types of frames? So we know that a frame is a structure made up of several bars riveted or welded together. Bars may be called as members. So what are the types of frames? First one is a perfect frame and second one is an imperfect frame. And again, imperfect frame is again classified into two types, that is deficient and the other is redundant. So the main motto of answering the short questions is just answering it directly as given in the question. Just answer to the questions. No need of much explanation required for short questions. Coming to the second question, explain perfect frame with neat sketch. So a perfect frame is the one in which the members of the frame are just sufficient to keep the frame in equilibrium when the frame is supporting an external load. So when there are any external loads applied on a frame, it must be in equilibrium position. Then only a frame is called as a perfect frame. And mathematically we have, if m is equal to 2j minus 3, this condition is satisfied, then also it is called as a perfect frame, where we have m is equal to number of members and j is number of joints. So this is a perfect frame example. We have two examples here. So in this video, a simple triangular frame is called as a perfect frame. We can write it as an example. Here we have m is equal to number of members, member 1, member 2 and member 3, and j is nothing but it is the number of joints, joint A, joint B and joint C. There are 3 joints. So if you substitute that m and j as 3 and 3 in the formula, we get the final answer as 3 is equal to 3, and hence it is a perfect frame. In the same manner, for the second frame which is given like this, these are the examples which we need to write in the examination when asked. So here we have 5 members. This is member 1, member 2, member CD it is 3, DA it is 4 and BD it is 5. So 5 members. And joints, coming to joints, joint A, joint B, joint C and joint D. Here also there are 5 members and 4 joints. If you substitute that m and j here, we will get 5 is equal to 5, which is satisfactory, and these two are the examples for perfect frame as asked in the question. That is, explain perfect frame with neat sketch. These are called as sketches and we can draw like this and complete the solution. Next, coming to the third question, that is explain imperfect frame with neat sketch. So a frame is called as an imperfect one if it doesn't satisfy the condition m is 2j minus 3. So if it doesn't satisfy m is equal to 2j minus 3, there we have two cases again, that is m less than 2j minus 3 and m more than 2j minus 3. If m is less than 2j minus 3, it is called as a deficient frame, and if it is more than 2j minus 3, it is called as a redundant frame. In the name itself we have deficient, that means it is having some deficiency. So examples for deficient and redundant frames are as follows. Here we have deficient frame. So take A, B, C, D as a frame. Here we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 members, and also A, B, C, D we have 4 joints, and if we substitute it we get 4 is not equal to 5 and it is 4 less than 5, m is 2j minus 3, m is less than 2j minus 3, hence it is a deficient frame. And if we consider this as an example for redundant frame, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members and 4 joints A, B, C, D. We have 6 greater than 5 after the substitution of m and j, and now m is greater than 2j minus 3, hence it is a redundant frame. Coming to the fourth question, this is what are the assumptions made in finding out the forces in a frame? There are 3 assumptions. The first one is the frame must be a perfect frame. It is assumed that the frame is a perfect frame while analyzing a problem. Next, the frame is a perfect frame. We have to assume that it is a perfect frame while analyzing a problem. Second one is the frame carries load at all the joints. That means it carries the loads at all the joints and it distributes along all the members. And third one is all the members in the frame are pin jointed. Why pin jointed? That means if it is fixed joint, there are 3 reactions, that is horizontal, vertical and also a movement. If it is pin jointed, it can move along any direction and it has only 2 reactions. Even though the joints are riveted or welded or whatever the way of connection it may be, but we are assuming that all the members in the frame are pin jointed only. Next one is what are the compatibility conditions? So there are 2 conditions that must be satisfied while solving any problem. So these are the standard statements. The members meeting at a joint will continue to meet at the same joint even after the deformation takes place. When a load is applied, the truss or a frame gets deformed, but what the condition is that the members will joint at the same joint even after the deformation takes place. And next one is at rigid joints, the angle between any 2 members remain the same even after the deformation takes place. After the deformation takes place, generally practically what happens is that the angle between any 2 members will get changed, but according to the compatibility condition, it is remain the same even after the deformation takes place. Next question. Statically determinate and statically indeterminate structure is asking us to define it. Let us define. So statically is not dealing with any kind of motion here, just it is dealing with something static. It is a structural system which can be analyzed by using equations of equilibrium, only equations of equilibrium, that is 3 equations of equilibrium. If a structural system can be solved, or all the forces can be found by using sigma fx, sigma fy and sigma m, then it is called as a statically determinate structure. And if it cannot be analyzed by using the equation of equilibrium, those are called as statically indeterminate structures. Next comes what are the methods of analyzing a truss. So generally we have 3 methods. The first one is method of joints or method of resolutions. The second one is method of sections or method of moments, and the third one is tension coefficient method. Define tension coefficient. So in the tension coefficient method, the first and foremost thing we do is we assume that all the members at any joint are acting in a tension mode only. That means all the members are considered to be in positive condition. So for that we find the tension coefficient, that is capital T by L. By using this coefficient, the problem is continued. First we have to find the tension coefficient for all the members. So what is tension coefficient? It is nothing but it is defined as it is a pull or tension in the member divided by its length, where small t is equal to tension coefficient, capital T is pull or tension in the member, and L is length of a member. Next comes explain degree of kinematic indeterminacy. Kinematic deals with the motion. So the indeterminacy of a structure that is expressed in terms of degrees of freedom is known as kinematic indeterminacy. So a fixed beam cannot rotate at any of its ends, hence it is kinematically determinate and dki is equal to 0. So degree of kinematic indeterminacy is nothing but it is abbreviated as dki. So here in a fixed beam at any end, either at A or B, at A it cannot rotate as there is a movement, it cannot go upward as there is a reaction, it cannot go forward as there is a horizontal reaction. So it is based on the degrees of freedom. So what happens, there is no movement in any of the direction for a fixed beam, so dki will be 0 here. Next question, explain degree of static indeterminacy. So degree of static indeterminacy is found by subtracting the number of reactions minus 3. In a beam, the number of reactions minus the static equilibrium equations. So we have 3 static equilibrium equations has got a numerical value other than 0. If it has got some numerical value other than 0 like 1, 2, 3 or anything, then it is statically indeterminate to that number, which is called as degree of static indeterminacy, that is DSI. For a proper cantilever beam, the degree of static indeterminacy will be 1. How? This is, what is this 4? This 4 is nothing but as it, suppose this is a proper cantilever beam, we have reaction 1, reaction 2 and reaction 3 at this end, and at this end we have one more reaction. So how many total number of reactions are there? There are 4 total number of reactions minus the static equilibrium equations, that is 3. Static equilibrium equations are 3 in number, so 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. So the degree of static indeterminacy for a proper cantilever beam is 1. So in the questions he will ask explain degree of static indeterminacy with an example, then we can follow this. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe for more updates.